This is the
Gary,
Urban
do you want to
Conservation
take notes?
Commission meeting, and we are recording. And I will present the agenda. Can you all see that?
Yeah.
Got it.
That's I cannot.
Oh no, do you want me to send it to you? Or I can just read to you. I mean, there's not that many things on it.
Sure. Could you possibly send it to my work email?
Yeah, I can do that.
That'd be great.
Gary, do you mind taking notes tonight?
Yeah. I just don't have this notebook out. Yeah.
Is the engineer gonna join us on tonight too, Mariah?
Yeah, Katie is here from Ty and Bond.
Okay.
And there might be some members of the public also calling in. And it looks like Mark Stinson is
I was
here.
thinking more. I thought it was Bill was the guy, the engineer for the Wheelock Street. Is he?
Yeah, but I mean, all that's left is you guys doing the orders of conditions. I mean, if you guys have more questions, the hearing for that closed a while back. So the public hearing for the Arch Street NOI is tonight.
No, they're both as a continuation of the public hearing for Wheelock too.
That's what it says on the minutes.
Yeah, we're supposed to.
I mean, on the agenda.
I thought that we
Yeah.
closed that out a
No,
while
we
back.
haven't, because they haven't done everything that Ward wanted them to.
We had
The
a meeting with
restoration
Ward.
plan for the time,
Right, but the hearing itself was closed, and I had
That's
said that
part
it
of
was
it.
okay.
it's not closed about that.
I thought that we had closed it, and I had said that I was okay with waiting to get the order of conditions because Bill needed to meet with Ward Smith, and we did that. And he was supposed to give you guys the draft of the order of conditions. And either way, Bill doesn't have to be here for the public hearing, but that's where we're at with the order. All right, Beth, I'm sending the agenda right now.
Okay, great. I was thinking it wasn't getting through my software.
No, I just can't talk and do things at the same time.
Oh, good. So we're exactly the same then. Well, it's not coming through, so
it
The
might
first
just
item
be,
is a call to order.
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes my email takes like 15 seconds to send something.
Okay.
So it might be, there might just be a little bit of a lag. But if you
Oh,
want
I got it.
to-
Okay. I got it.
Okay.
Okay, so it's 6:32 and I just wanted to call the meeting to order. And go down alphabetically of the commissioners present. And am I first? Beth Bassler, present?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Carrie Berg, present.
Mark Latchley present.
Mike Schaefer, present.
And Mariah Kurtz is here, and it looks like Mark Stinson is also here. And
Great.
Mark Stinson, I am going to unmute you on my end. You can stay muted on your end, but then if you have something to say, you're welcome to chime in on your own accord.
Did any commissioners have comments to make on the January 5th minutes, or were they okay as sent?
Mark, did
Move
you
to
have an
approve.
addition? No?
Any edits to suggest for the meeting minutes, for the January 5th meeting minutes?
I do not have any.
Nope.
Okay, none
No.
being present. Can we vote
Make a
on, yeah, can I move to approve the minutes? And is there a second?
As written. I second.
Thank you, as written. So all in favor, say aye. Beth Basler, aye.
Carrie Berg, aye.
Mark Lechley, aye.
Mike Schaefer, aye.
Okay, so we can move on to item number 4, the continuation of the public hearing of the NOI for Wheelock Street Culvert Project, and discuss the draft orders provided by Ward. Did anyone, Mariah, can you put the draft comments up, or?
Yeah, I'm trying to just find them. Was I copied on them?
I wasn't copied on him. I know David said he had some issues with the, where the email that he sent to you originally asking for the, where they were gonna resurrect the wetlands they're destroying. That was the emails I got.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't know that I have them.
I don't have them. Has Mark Simpson seen them?
Well, you guys haven't approved. If we don't have them, I don't believe Mark would have them because you're the ones who are submitting them to Mark.
Yeah, the only thing that I see in my inbox is a draft order of conditions for Arch Street.
Yeah.
So apparently we're unable to complete the public hearing for the NOI for Wheelock Street Culvert Project until we
So-
have the draft orders.
Am I remembering incorrectly? I thought that we had closed the public hearing, but I had said that it was okay to wait until the order of conditions was done, or did we continue the public hearing?
The minutes say continuation of public hearing.
yeah, that's what I remember too.
Okay.
Do we continue it till next meeting then?
I
That
think you
seems like,
have to.
yeah, that seems like a logical thing. Does somebody want to move that?
I'll make a motion to extend the public hearing for the Wheelock Street culvert to the next meeting.
I'll second that. All in favor? Beth Basler, aye.
Carrie Berg, aye.
Mark Lechley, aye.
Mike Schaefer, aye.
Wow, we're racing along to agenda item 5. Opening the public hearing for the NOI for Arch Street Sewer Project and discussing the draft orders that were provided by Mark. I'm sorry, that were provided by Ward. Do you have those,
I
Mariah? They
don't
were-
know.
Oh, you don't?
Oh,
Okay.
wait, maybe I do. The ones
They were provided on 1/5.
It looks like, yes, I think I do. One
Okay.
second. I can open these up.
Geez, Beth, you're getting through this so quick, we'll be done in 10 minutes.
I know. You guys are gonna have me run every single meeting going forward, right?
Okay, so these are the draft order of conditions. I know, I don't believe we have anyone from the public who is calling in, no one that I can see at least. I know that Katie from Ty and Bond is here, so if someone has questions, they're able to ask them. But I don't know that anyone is here to ask the questions, so.
It looks like the screen that you're on is showing the kind of standard orders of conditions. Is there anything further down that was specific to this project that we could take a look at?
I don't know where they start.
I think keep going down 5, right? The-
Conditions, page 10. Oh.
Yeah, those are some of the, I think, specific to this, right?
What is that?
I had one thing that I had asked David about, I think at the last meeting, was the existing pipe going across the brook. Is that in here, replacing, taking that old one out?
Just the portion that goes on the brook.
Right,
No, that portion is not going to be removed. It's staying where it is because it'd have to be capped and removed and cause a bit more disturbance and issue than we currently have planned. So it's planned to stay as is.
Remind me how far down it is.
How far down the river? How
That-
far down in the water?
That pipe. How far underground that pipe is.
The existing pipe may, I think, is only a couple feet below the ground surface currently.
Are there any other comments?
yeah, I'm just wondering why, what's the cost of capping that and taking that section out? I mean, that was our concern about erosion of the old pipe. It's kind of unsightly.
Well, I wouldn't worry about sightliness as much as, hazard of a broken out pipe going down into the stream if it's eroded away or broken.
So the concern is that down the road, that pipe will rot through and then something will be released that's hazardous? Is that what you all are concerned about?
No,
It's
there's just sewage and-
asbestos pipe. And further, if it's too close to the surface, that in any kind of extreme event, that it could get damaged. But if it's 2 feet underneath the current stream bed,
I don't think it is.
I'm less
That was
worried
what
about
was making, that was, I haven't seen it without water, but that was what was making the water rise, according to when we took our tour. You could see it rippling over the top of the pipe.
So I'm hearing people want to ask that the project be redesigned to involve removing that chunk of pipe and capping either end.
That was, I thought we were gonna explore that anyhow.
I know it was discussed previously, but we determined it would be too costly and involve a bit too more than we can necessarily afford to do right now.
You're leaving that pipe all from the pump house all the way across. I mean, it just seems like you're gonna be digging that pipe. You're going in right next to it all the way across, I believe, aren't you?
Yes.
So you could take it out when you're in there. I mean, I don't know. But what's the cost involved, I guess, is part of the question.
I'm honestly not sure on the cost. I was, the engineer on the project had a conflict with another meeting this evening, so he couldn't make it. So I don't exactly know the full cost of the replacement or the removal and capping of that. I sent him a message to see if he could respond, but I haven't heard anything at the moment. I mean, you can't just kind of cap it at the bank. You're going to be pulling it back even farther and capping those areas. And we have to, it's an active line, so we have to get the new line installed before we deactivate the other line. So it wouldn't happen until after the new line was already in and ready to roll.
the new
would-
line
we
is
would-
going to be further down, correct?
We would have to redesign the project and we'd have to recalculate impacts. So that would be another couple of months of waiting for this project. So
No,
as
I'm
a
saying
heads
the
up.
new line is supposed to be deeper than the old line, wasn't it?
Correct.
So are commissioners wanting to cause a delay in the project in order to achieve this goal?
That would be my preference.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to see it held up.
Katie, do you know what, I mean, I know that you had mentioned before that it's standard to leave the asbestos pipe in place when you're renewing these. Do you know like what are the environmental impacts of that? I imagine it wouldn't be legal for us to do that if it was considered hazardous. What are the repercussions of leaving it in place?
Nothing at the moment unless something traumatic happens to the pipe. I mean, the pipe as is, most of our water lines are asbestos pipe. As long as the material inside the pipe does not get broken and release the asbestos material, then there's no hazard. If for some reason the pipe gets too undermined or exposed or something damages the pipe and releases whatever residual material is inside the pipe, both from the sewer or whatever the case may be, that could be a potential detriment, but that section of pipe doesn't seem to have any issues at this point in time. So there's only an issue if something happens to the pipe. Sorry.
Okay.
what are we looking at as far as like longevity before like degradation might happen down the road?
I am honestly not sure of the lifespan of the pipe.
I would like to
Um,
see an order put in.
Sold.
Minute,
We're
I'd like to
replacing
see an order
pipe.
put in now, basically check the pipe for, or check that area for, potential future damage to the pipe. Because it would only be in my mind if there was some kind of major flood event on that stream, which I'm pretty much can't imagine, causing things to open up somehow.
And
So I
what's,
guess if the town's gonna look at it on a annual or semi-annual or something basis, then, we could see something possibly starting to happen and then could take steps to prevent it. Because it has to, the stream bed would have to erode some, then there'd have to be exposed pipe, and then, there's a whole series of stages that would allow,
I think
time
the
to do
pipe's
something about it.
exposed now, Mark. I'd like to see it. If I believe the pipe's exposed now.
I guess that wasn't my impression, but
I think it is.
and what's
sorry,
the
what?
age? What's the age of the pipe?
I believe it's about 40, 50 years old at this point, maybe 50, leaning towards that side of the age range.
And is that pipe, we're talking about concerns about flooding in that area and damage to the pipe. In other areas where it's just subsurface and not in the stream, like, is there a certain corrosion rate on those pipes that, we just know at X years it's going to become suspect? Or
I mean, the reason for their replacement now is that there's portions of it that have leaks and is starting to get to the end of its quote unquote design life.
Okay.
They haven't said anything in the general vicinity of where the stream crossing is. I think it was primarily under where other sections of it are. I'm honestly not sure where exactly the issues are. But that's the reason they're replacing it. They're afraid that it's just going to fail after however many more years. And now that they have the money to do it, they want to replace it. They could replace the existing one, but to be even more wetland impacts.
Yeah, we don't care. I'm just worried about the brook crossing. And
So our engineer gave me a general ballpark number for replacement. So if we were to remove the pipe, it'd be $100 per foot for 4,000 feet. So about $400,000 if we were to remove everything.
yeah, we don't want to remove the whole pipe, just remove it from the pump house to the other side of the brook, be about 200
I wouldn't
feet.
even say from the pump house. I'd say just the stream crossing. Just
Yeah.
as, what is
Well,
it, 6 or 8 feet?
Yeah, that's fine. That would be about 12 feet, so.
So if the commission's interested in having 12 feet removed, it seems likely that the town could afford that additional cost. It sounds like it'll create some more short-term wetland impacts, but some of us think that it may be better on the long term to do it that way. In terms of the project timeline, if there is a couple of months of delay to rework the plan and resubmit, how does that fit with the construction season or other?
It's highly likely this project won't happen this year if that's the case, because they need to get it out to bid pretty much this month. The contractors are coming out to bid now. If you want a halfway decent contractor, to bid on it and get the project. They're putting in their bids now. They're filling up their work schedules for this year. And I know Ward had talked about time constraints, doing the work within the summer time frame that only gives you a short period of time to get all of your ducks in a row. So we wouldn't even be in front of the commission till probably April. Because we're not going to be able to make the next meeting, potentially, depending on when we get everything into the commission for a redesign and reestablish where our work area is, what the limits of impact are, providing a new design sheet to you guys. It's February. We'll get you something to March, hopefully. And then we wouldn't be able to get a decision from you guys maybe at the March meeting or April. So we wouldn't be able to going out to bid until April at least. And then our work starts. So from my understanding of the bid process, it takes a little bit longer and we have to get everything pulled together. We can't just put it out to bid 1 month and then start the next.
Mariah, can you hear me? This is Mark.
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, so another option, instead of delaying it till next month, is to just include a special condition that they need to come to you with a revised plan acceptable to the commission that would remove the section of pipe from the stream you're looking for. Just make it a special condition in the order.
Just add
Okay.
that as 23. Can you see the screen, Mark, that she has up?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So add another condition, number 23.
Yeah, or I'd call it special condition number 4 instead of, because there's already a general condition 20. So I would start it off with special condition 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. So anyway, yes, added special condition with the language you want. That way you're not holding up the bid process. But it's in the order that they have to do it.
Thank you for explaining
Makes
that.
a lot of sense to me. And especially because the work actually starts further up. My impression from when we did our site visit was the work down by the stream wasn't going to be until further down the line, so to speak.
If the commission would prefer that, we can come up with a new plan and a new design and make sure we have all of our impact numbers associated with the project and the additional scope of work added in there. And we can move forward with that. It is what it is. It is encased in concrete and we'll have to get the new line installed prior to removing the old line. So
Absolutely.
there might be some delay in that sense. If they can start the other work outside of the river crossing before the summertime, then we'll work with that and try to get that done first, just so you don't have to keep the dewatering in place for longer than anybody really wants to.
That sounds good. I mean, they can do the whole project. Yeah.
What was that?
Sorry,
I'm
Beth, I
sorry.
muted you.
I say the whole project can actually be done, and then the removal of that section of pipe is essentially separate. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, I don't install sewer pipes, so I'm not exactly sure on the mechanics of doing so. But from what I understand, they can phase that section and do it that portion during, 1, the low flow season, 2, when they can activate the line and remove the other one. Because it has to be within that dewatered work area. So it's just extending that time frame a little bit.
Okay. So Beth, can we make an amendment to this draft condition? I'm not quite sure of the exact wording.
So what was the wording that a minute ago?
To add,
That the applicant or the work, what was it? The applicant must bring forward a revised plan with including removing the pipe.
the existing pipe across Caleb Brook. The portion of, I would say the portion of the existing pipe crossing Caleb Brook.
Then you want to include a date for when the information must be submitted to you, 1 month after construction, 1 month before construction, something along those lines. Whatever you think is appropriate.
Yeah,
So subject to your review and approval.
Mark, is there any issue with us increasing our impacts for land underwater for that work?
No, just guesstimate it now and just add it in. If it's going to be, if it's 12 feet, how wide's the stream there?
Like 5 feet?
Okay, so, and how wide would the excavation need to be? 3 feet? I mean, so you got minimal bank and minimal land underwater, really.
Right, so we have a whole dewatered area for the installation of the new pipe, and the dewatering area includes the section of old pipe. We might have to bring down our cofferdam slightly just to make sure we have enough room for that removing of the pipe and the concrete that is surrounding the pipe.
Well, another thing you could do is just use the impacts that are appropriate now, and then as a special condition, when you submit the plan, you can submit revised resource area impacts, and that way, even though it's not numbered, the square footage or the linear distance is not actually stated. The special condition getting the revised plan would cover that. So, as long as it's, pretty close, close enough for government work.
thanks, Mark.
So is this something close? I couldn't put it straight into the document because of the form that Ward used. So I can just forward this to Ward. But is this the language that you wanted? The applicant shall submit a revised plan to include removing the portion of the pipe which passes through Keyup Brook to the Conservation Commission at least 1 month before construction?
For their review and approval, for the commission review and approval.
And you should state old pipe, and you need to state, I would say 1 month before that portion of the construction, because if the construction starts further up towards Route 2 and so on, it has nothing to do with this area.
Right. That's a good point.
I mean, we'll probably try to get it designed as soon as we can so that that full set of bid documents and plan sets can go out to the contractor. So there's not amendments, just because it always adds a level of complication.
Right.
Well, thank you, Mark, for your help getting through that.
Yeah, no problem. So Kate, do you have any suggested language for the commission for the appropriate time when you can submit the revised plan?
I think keeping it 1 month before construction of the entire project is probably safer than whenever the work is happening in the stream channel. I think that's fine.
Okay.
try to get it in sooner rather than later.
And Mariah, you're gonna do this on EDEP?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay,
So I will forward this to Ward to be included, and I will CC the Conservation Commission on it.
so you guys ready to close the hearing?
Yes, I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
Second,
And Carrie, if you can just include the time as 7:04, that would be great.
All in favor?
that's Beth's job.
There is Beth.
She muted herself, but I don't know.
Yes. I'm sorry. All those in favor? Beth Basler, aye.
Carrie Berg, aye.
Mark Latchley, aye.
Mike Schaefer, aye.
Okay, so we've closed the public hearing. Are there any other comments on the draft orders, the number 20, 21, and 22? So being no comments, can we just add in 23 now and vote to approve the
I think you would
orders
approve as amended.
as amended? Is
I
that
guess.
possible?
I believe so.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Mariah, could you please read them out one more time, just so we're all?
All three of, or all four of them?
Does everybody else have the chance to see 20, 21, and 22?
Yes,
Yes, I do.
So I wouldn't think we'd need to read those out, but would you mind reading the new one out?
Sure. 1 second. So the applicant shall submit a revised plan to include removing the portion of existing pipe which passes through Keyett Brook to the Conservation Commission at least 1 month before construction begins for their review and approval.
Is there any further discussion on that amendment? Are commissioners ready to vote on the amended orders?
yes.
Does anybody want to move that we do that?
Second.
Apparently I just moved
Mike
it.
moved,
I move that we vote on the revised orders.
All right, alphabetically.
All those in favor, Beth Basler, aye.
Carrie Berg, aye.
Mark Latchley, aye.
Mike Schaefer, aye.
Okay, so that passed unanimously. That seems like we can move on to agenda item number 6.
Well, can I jump in a second, Beth?
Oh, sure, jump.
So procedurally, just think about how the town moderator does it. So the first step was perfect. You close the public hearing, period. So the next step is actually to, review the special conditions and actually vote on the project, because actually you did not vote to approve or deny the project. All you voted on was to approve the special conditions. So if you look at what everybody said, nobody actually approved the project. Nobody voted to approve the project with those 4 special conditions.
Right.
Okay, so then we have to move to approve the project.
Yes, absolutely.
I move that we approve the project.
Second,
All those in favor, Beth Basler, aye.
Oh, Carrie Berg, aye.
Mark Latchley, aye.
Mike Schaefer, aye.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I'd like to
Okay.
make a note before we continue. Could people, when they address Mark, make sure they say which Mark we're talking to?
It
Not
happens
them
now and then. Yeah.
ignoring. But I'd like to, it just keeps my head on straight.
Understood. All right.
Can I ask one question before? Just wondering the process for this commission about issuing the order and all that jazz. Are you planning on getting signatures and then issuing the order, or are you following the whole electronic signatures are fine or sending out?
It seems like to date, we've been going in and giving actual physical signatures.
Okay. I just know that
And-
the engineer is gonna want to know like when it might be issued. I know we have 21 days, so I just kind of was wondering what the
So
process
far,
was.
the way that it has worked is I will print this out probably tomorrow when I go to town hall. Everyone will have a couple days to get in and sign it. And then once everyone's signed it, I will scan it and submit it on EDP, and I can send it to you all, and I'll send it out to the commission so that everyone has the final copy.
Okay,
Actually,
I believe
that's
we.
How
I believe
EDP works.
What? Go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
No, I'll work with you tomorrow, Mariah, on the middle, because you don't scan the order and then upload it into EDP. So we can talk about this tomorrow.
Yeah, I honestly, I haven't looked at EDP in a while, so I can probably figure it out, but I'll probably scan this anyways for our files.
Okay.
So I also actually, Ward, I'll have to look at the template that Ward used. I couldn't insert more text in there, so I just have to figure that out.
All right, we can talk about it tomorrow.
Okay, but yeah, so
Um,
Katie, it should be relatively, it won't take a full 21 days.
Okay, and I believe we're recording the order for the town, so whatever originals, if they can come our way, then we can get them
Okay.
recorded at the registry.
Great. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you so much. Have a good night, all.
You too.
All right.
Good night. Okay. So Mark Stinson, did you come into the meeting for anything in particular other than to just generally participate?
Just generally see how everybody's doing. I mean, I had no particular reason. I just saw the legal notice and online, and I said, well, they're having a meeting. I need a meeting tonight. So you guys got lucky.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming. That was super helpful. So
Can I ask Mark Simpson a question?
Stinson, yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it's not right to ask it now, but when the culvert on Wheelock Street was designed for 10-year flood, and I asked Ward about it, and he said a lot are 22 or 100-year, and I just wondered why a 10-year flood is okay for that design in this case.
Well, I'm not going to comment on the storm event that it's supposed to carry, because what you look at is, was the stream crossing designed to comply with the stream crossing standards to the maximum extent practicable? So, maximum extent practicable could be full compliance, which means 1.2 times bank width. I mean, that's all you care about. You're not actually designing for a storm event. You're designing for maximum extent practicable of the stream crossing standards. So let's talk about Irene a minute. So when Irene, did a huge number in Vermont and along the border there in Coleraine, Charlemont, and a few other towns.
Right.
Any of the stream crossings that were designed in the last few years in Vermont to comply with the stream crossing standards, those crossings were fine. None of them blew out. So if you comply with the stream crossing standards to at least maximum extent practicable, you're designing for a large storm. So engineers love to throw in numbers. So they say, here's the size pipe, here's the material of the pipe, here's the watershed area, here's the storm event this pipe can carry. I don't care what an engineer says in that regard, because I look at physical factors on the ground. So, I could take you guys out in the field and show you stream crossings, and just from a layman's point of view, tell you what size pipe is needed, just by looking at the site. So I don't care if an engineer says 10 or 50 or 100-year storm. I look at physical characteristics on the ground.
Well, thank you.
So what did you
That's
say?
interesting.
What is it that you were saying about bank width?
Bank full. So,
Bank,
bank full, BANKFULL. So,
right?
so you look at the stream crossing handbook and it kind of defines it. So most streams have a floodplain, even though it's maybe not a regulatory floodplain, has a floodplain where if you get a big storm, the water flows outside the bank.
Right.
And you can tell those characteristics right in the field. So what you do is you measure a certain distance from when the water overflows its normal banks.
Right.
And at that point on either side, it's called bank full, just before or when the water spills out. You measure that, you multiply times 1.2, 120%, and that'll handle almost any storm you can throw at it.
That's
So it's
my
all
question.
based on physical characteristics of the site.
All right. Thank you for your help. So that's what that was designed at 1.2, I believe.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, yeah, I remember. So going back to that, Ward talked to me about the replication area, and he was concerned, like you guys said, that where's it going to be done? How do they know it's going to be done? All that stuff. So I know he was working on language, but I didn't realize you guys didn't have it. I mean, Ward's very reliable. He's very good.
You might have sent it directly to David, because I think last time David had forwarded it out to everyone. So it could be that David Brule has it and he wasn't able to make the meeting tonight.
Oh,
Yeah, I think that could be what happened, to be truthful. Thank you for your help understanding that. I was a little concerned about it. So.
not a problem.
Okay, so I believe now we're up to item 6, reviewing the draft certificate of compliance for the Riverfront project.
Yes. So actually, Mark Stinson, you might be able to answer this question. I wasn't sure, do I need to submit this to you at the same time that I submit it to the Conservation Commission, or do they just sign it after? Like, I don't know what the process is for these.
Well, if you vote on, so the applicant sent you the Form 8A, request for a certificate of compliance. You guys put it on the agenda, you vote on it, and if all is fine, you guys sign it, and then just email me the information so I can update my database. It's the applicant who needs the original so it can get recorded at the registry.
Okay. So yeah, I'm not sure why David put it on here as a draft, because it's not a draft, it's the full thing. But basically this is a request for a certificate of compliance that we did the work that we said that we were going to do at the Riverfront Park. I believe that you all had approved both phase 1 or a full phase one, and only part of the phase one was completed. So less work than you had actually approved, but that work was done and has been done for quite some time.
So is there any work remaining, Mariah, that they want to do?
If they do, we'll be going through a whole new process, I think. It's not gonna
Correct.
happen anytime soon.
So the problem with this is the form itself, the 8B, does not, it's not a very fun form to work with when you've got a situation where only some of the work was performed, but not all. So I would do, complete certification, but add that information there, a portion of phase one, add all that in so that somebody who reviews the certificate of compliance at the registry knows that, it's projects completed, but only part of the work was done, because a partial certificate of compliance doesn't really say the same thing. So there's different boxes you can fill out. One's complete, one's partial, one's invalid. Invalid meaning the work was never done. So you don't want to issue a partial, because that means some of the order conditions is still open. So you want to do complete and just add that statement for work that was done.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question, and that is, what's not done?
So my understanding was that there was like a second pavilion that was supposed to be added. There was some boardwalks that were gonna be added. There were
And
some
is it
trails.
described on the form?
Say that again?
It's not described on this form.
I know, I just put what was completed. If you'd like, I can, on the other one, I could say what wasn't. I just didn't want to put, I didn't want to miss anything. So I figured I would put what was completed rather than what wasn't.
That sounds fine to me, unless there's something. Because the work
But
is
now
completed.
But now it sounds like Mark Stinson's recommending that we say, items A through D were not completed and
No,
Well,
I don't mean that. I think that's fine, just saying what was done. And that was
Okay.
done according to the order. Don't forget, an order of conditions grants someone permission to do something. They don't have to do it all. They don't have to do anything. But, so that's why I'm saying it is complete certification. They did everything they said. They did everything listed the way they were supposed to, but they just didn't do everything. And they don't have to. So one of the boxes, again, is a partial. Usually that's used where the order is still valid, part of the work has been done, and they need money from the bank or something to do the rest. That's where a partial applies, but this is complete, it's all done. The order is closed.
so there was to be additional language added to this, or the existing language is sufficient?
No, I think the language that's up there is fine.
He's
Great.
saying that on the response, on the Form 8, this is Form 8A, which is the request, and he's saying on
Right.
Form 8B, the one that you all sign, I should add that language on there.
For the work that was done, just like they describe, I would add that, yes. So it's clear, not everything was done, but some was done.
Right.
So are commissioners interested in seeing anything else on the response to this certificate of compliance, or have we covered all the bases at this point?
I had just a quick, that pump house, what is that? What pump house is that?
Say that again?
You said they completed a pump house?
Yeah,
What is that? Is that,
so that's part of what the new project is, where that there's like a brick building there. It's part of the wastewater system, is my understanding. I believe that was done around the same time.
Riverfront.
they did put in some when we took our tour there, they had put in some fire water tanks. Is that part of this project?
I believe it was.
Yeah, that's a pretty important one to list if that was done under this project.
I thought they just cleaned them out. I didn't.
Oh, they put tanks in, I believe. Mark, do you know? Mark Simpson?
I don't remember. I mean, I remember reviewing the project, but I can't remember what they proposed.
I remember that there, the hose for the fire folks to plug into was a part of that project. And by hose, I mean line.
The dry hydrant.
Hydrants. And the removal of snakes. I remember that.
Hey, Mark Simpson, I noticed looks like a levee around the park there. Was that to keep from flooding out? Or am I making that up when I looked at it just looks like that's a real floodplain in there.
Well, there is a good chunk of floodplain, but there could have been a levee from who knows how long ago, but there are breaks in it now, I would imagine. Yes.
Yes, it stops
So
at
it's
the bridge.
Yeah. So so a lot of that park there is still floodplain.
I see.
Okay, so what's the next step in this process?
Just vote to ratify the issuance of a complete certificate of compliance. That's all.
Okay, I move that we vote to issue a certificate of compliance for the Riverfront project.
I second.
All those in favor, Beth Bausler, aye.
Carrie Berg, aye.
Mark Latchley, aye.
Mike Schaefer, aye. Carrie, you're going to be the busy one tonight, trying to keep notes on everything.
Yeah, I got a plan for that.
Okay, item number 7, updates on Morningstar's outreach to Irving Elementary. As we saw, Morningstar's not able to make the meeting today, but it seems like she's been great at communicating what her plans were and that the commission was in support of all the materials that she had created. So, I'm guessing we can move that to the next month's agenda, but it seems like she's moving along nicely on that. So.
Yeah, it sounded like they were going to do climate change. Maybe. I'm not sure. I thought that was one topic they might be doing. And then she had quite a nice way to get everybody's ideas and get everybody on the same page. I didn't sit at Mark. You sat in on the meetings, didn't you?
Yep.
Is there anything that you'd want to share from that, or?
No, she's got more in those 2 sets of notes that she sent out to the school, and I don't think she'd heard back from the principal, but she'd gotten out. I think the forms were supposed to go out to the teachers to come up with projects.
That sounds great. Okay. Can we move on to the updates on the Poplar Mountain Conservation Area projects?
I have, well, it's not much of an update, but I reached back out to the Eversource contact that we have about our request for use, because it's been almost 9 months since we submitted that, and they keep coming back for more information but haven't given us anything. So I'm hoping that, by the next meeting, hopefully we'll have some kind of a response from them on using their gravel line area as a parking area. I also reached out to MassDOT to ask if we do move forward with that, what kind of signage they would allow us to put up, because there is a curve there. And so we'd like to have some kind of hiking signage and maybe like a I don't remember what they call it now. I don't think it's called a blind drive anymore, but some kind of a non-visible, or, you know, low visibility area to just alert people. But because that's Route 60, or because it's Old State Road and it's MassDOT, we have to go through their permit process. So I reached out to my contact there to ask what they would suggest, and I'm waiting to hear back.
And Mark, did you recruit volunteers? Wasn't there something in the town newsletter?
Oh, you mean for Poplar? Oh, you want to talk about that part? Yeah.
Is that a part of this item too?
Yeah, the idea was to come up with a Friends of Poplar Mountain, including not just an organization, but also lists of volunteers. And I had originally reached out to all the individuals that were involved in obtaining Poplar Mountain Conservation Area for the town. And they all said they wanted to be part of it in the future, but they all have various and sundry comments about they need more volunteers. But that was right off the bat, because I emailed them directly. But then since the letter came, the newsletter came out, I've gotten a couple more inquiries. And so at this point, I wanted to make up an email list of everybody who said they were interested, and put out and also check in with library, Friends of the Library, to see about organizational structures. And then, try and get them to get moving on it. The question originally, we had some discussion, did we, Mariah, about that we as a conservation commission couldn't necessarily be part of it, or couldn't have very many of us part of it. So if there were two of us there, it would then be a meeting at which
Yeah, I think it's actually 3 would be a quorum, but because you're discussing the same, very similar topics, I would suggest not having, I don't know, I would suggest having one liaison on there.
Hoping that somebody from those people interested would come up and say they would be happy to lead out or be the liaison, and not have any of us actually on the Friends of the Mountain, but be on the list of volunteers, because there's basically 2 things. One is a group of people who will come together to say, well, let's raise some money, or let's schedule a bird walk, or a work party. And then there'd be a list of people like the Farley Ledges group has like over 100 volunteers to work on projects there. And so there would be an extensive list of people that could, come and paint or paint blazes, put up a sign, or, clear trees or what have you. And that would be a separate list.
And if they had a volunteer work day like that, then multiple members of the commission could participate in that, as long as it's not like a discussion of policy or something like that,
Right.
correct?
That was more what I wanted to do anyhow, was be on a work day or something, not be in another meeting somewhere. So that's good.
Yeah, if you're
So
not making decisions, it's okay.
Yeah, my thinking is that since the newsletter just came out, that just wait a few more days, make a list of all the people that are interested, make up a blank email, a blanket email to all of them saying, this is the way the library friends are organized. There's also
They seem to be more in for the money, Mark, I think, than, the library raised a lot of money. And I don't think the Conservation Commission, the the conservation land needs as much money as the library.
No, but there's got to be some rules for how the body is organized. You know, even if they're just going to supply hot chocolate on a cold day for a work party. But
But does it have to be a full-on 501c3 the way the Friends of the Library is? Or could it be a more casual organization than that?
it'd be nice if it could be more casual. But to some extent, that depends on them.
Because it seems like any event like that would be run under the town insurance because it would be a CONSCOM event, right?
I think it would depend. I think right now it sounds like you don't have a group of people who want to really like spearhead this and take it on as like a fundraising thing. So I think you could do it as more of a casual thing. And then if at some point they wanted to do fundraising for interpretive signage or something, they could always become a 501c3. But I think it's really up, like you said, Mark, I think it's up to them how they would like to do that. I think having just a list of volunteers who you can reach out to when you do need help with trail maintenance or something, like even that would go a long way. Yeah.
I got an email. Let's see, what's the folks from the Farley Ledges group?
Oh,
Mr.
Alice,
Mouse Climbers Coalition.
Yeah, I got a copy of an email that they had with some discussions with the power company about trail work, and there was some mention in there about, you know, having some connection discussions with us as a conservation commission, although, as I say, it was an aside within a different discussion. I'll see if I can find it in my box.
But that was related to First Light, right? Not Eversource.
Well, let me see what it is here.
if it's the one that I'm thinking of, yeah, I believe it was about the FERC license.
Yeah, they said they weren't consulted or something, and
Yeah, there's some trails on our property that we weren't aware of. From the First
The
Light
green
perspective.
yellow trail,
Say again?
was it the green and yellow trail they just made or no?
Yeah, the ones they made off the back. So
Yeah, yeah, they're very nice.
yeah, I think First Light won't really do anything. We just wanted to.
yeah, yes.
We lost you, Beth.
Are you still, am I there?
Now you are.
Sorry about that. So in terms of the Poplar Mountain Conservation Area agenda item, it sounds like Mariah's made good attempts to get information from 2 different bodies, and she's waiting back from both of them. Mark's gotten some good ideas of people that are going to participate in that project, but we're waiting to see whether that's going to come to fruition with exactly somebody wanting to be in a leadership role in that position.
Oh, I have one other thing. We're about to submit our funding request for every year. Our regional planning agency gets a chunk of money that they're allowed to use to help each town. And we're about to submit our priority requests. And one of the things is GIS help me make a map of the conservation trails. That has, it's updated, and I believe we have a map that someone made several years ago, but it shows one of the trails, like it shows it going onto private property, and it's not totally accurate. So hopefully we'll get some funding help. I have a new GPS thing that I am trying to set up, and hopefully this spring I can be out there on the trails mapping it.
That'd be good.
That's fantastic.
I can help you do that, Mariah.
Yeah, I was just
It
gonna say,
sounds like a
please help,
fun
Mike.
project.
I can help too.
All right.
Need it.
Back when
We
you
can all go
were
for
first mentioned, Mariah, when you first mentioned that, I remember referencing you to, the, geocaching website and the trails that they post. So,
Yeah.
you know, take a look at that. Cause though, I don't know who mapped those, but they're in a lot of different places besides ours. And,
You're talking
Yeah,
about the
but
North
do take a
Quabbin
look at
Trail
those.
Association?
I'm
No,
sorry,
it's
what?
Caching.
One.
No, the geocaching is just, the geocaching trails or
Is separate.
trails that are marked, are on their site, but I don't know how they get put there. Basically, I think what it is somebody goes out geocaching and maps where they go and then puts them onto, one of the one of the websites that has the maps that they use for a base map. And I'm not sure. Evergreen Maps might be it. Not sure.
I
It
think you sent
actually
me the link
from a
before.
lot of different places. I'm actually looking at some of them right now, like it comes from like the USGS topo maps or street views or satellite topography views. There's all kinds of different maps that they're pulling this data from. So I don't think it's necessarily somebody going out there, unless it's somebody that specifically, that's what they do for a living. They create, you know, the maps of trails from like all over the place. So I
Well,
don't think,
you're looking
like, it's not like a private individual doing it. It would be more like a company that would be doing it.
You're looking at the geocaching maps?
Do I?
Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah.
When you enlarge it, you get these yellow trails pop in a lot of different locations. Up in Wendell, they're all over. They're,
Yeah.
you know, and they're not the trails that the state publishes. They're just trails that get put in there.
Right. But geocaching, like the headquarters themselves, the people that develop all of this, take it from a bunch of different resources.
Yes.
Okay.
Nothing
Great.
else to add.
Okay. So, anything else on Poplar Mountain, or are we finishing up on that?
Well done.
Okay, great. Are there any other topics not anticipated at the time of the posting? Would anybody like to move to close the meeting?
I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Beth Basler, aye.
Carrie Berg, aye.
Mark Blatchley, aye.
Mike Schaefer, aye. Good job, Beth.
Who's next?
Thank you, Mark. That's very kind of you.
Thank you, Mark
Or, I
Blatchley.
mean, thank you, Mike. That was very kind of you.
And thank you, Mark Stinson, for coming.
You're welcome. We can talk
Yes.
tomorrow about the order of conditions. I'll help you with that.
Great. Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
Mark,
Okay, good seeing you all. Call me anytime, email me, whatever I can do for you, just let me know.
Great, thank you.
And
Okay.
Carrie,
Bye.
I know you said that you wanted the recording. I will try to get that to you tonight. It might take a while to download, so if I don't get it to you tonight, I'll send it to you in the morning.
That sounds perfect. Don't worry about it tonight. Tomorrow's fine.
Okay.
thanks,
Great,
Carrie.
all right.
Thanks,
All right,
everyone.
bye,
And
everyone.
Carrie, thank you very much for taking minutes.
Oh, you're welcome. I've got a dictaphone foot pedal, so all I need is the recording, and I'm gonna be going back because that went really fast.
You know, you could ask us questions and stuff to
No,
clarify.
it's good. I sent Mariah a thing. I'm like, can you send me a recording? This way
That's
I'm
one nice thing about the online meetings is we can have recordings.
Yeah, once I heard that, I was like, all right, I got this. I know what I'm gonna do. So it's all
All right,
good.
bye, everyone.
All right, see you later. Bye.
Alrighty, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Stay healthy, everybody.
You too.